Hello there. Weather warnings for the potential for some localised flooding still remain in force across parts of France as we've seen some very unsettled weather just recently. This curl of cloud showing wet weather pushing its way across France and into Germany. And there's more to come as we move into Wednesday as well, across the north coast of Portugal into western France, moving up through France, across the Low Countries and into Germany. It stays cold in Scandinavia, and that easterly wind will be a feature for the UK over the next few days. Not too bad across the Mediterranean over the next couple of days. Wednesday into Thursday shows a good deal of fine, dry weather, temperatures into the high teens. Less windy in northern Portugal, it has been, and the same too for the Brest Peninsula, but still some wet weather moving out of Paris across the Low Countries and into Germany. So that's the story on Wednesday. Into Thursday, slightly quieter story generally. It's still pleasant enough across the Mediterranean, still bitterly cold into Scandinavia, and an easterly wind is going to start to push its way across the Channel and may have quite an impact to the UK as we move through the weekend. With those temperatures really falling quite sharply, there's a potential for some snow Sunday into Monday, even as far south as the capital. Now elsewhere, it looks likely to stay cold and wintry across Berlin, those temperatures plummeting in Moscow. Hello there, a forecast for Australia and New Zealand coming up pretty shortly. But first of all, let's start off in Asia. Plenty to talk about here. Now, the satellite picture is picking up the shower cloud, particularly across parts of Indonesia. But as we move further north, you can see there's little in the way of cloud cover around at the moment. There's a large area of high pressure, but temperatures actually above the average for the time of year, as far south as Hong Kong. That said, it's a different story across Japan, where we've still got a cold northerly wind, and those temperatures are still likely to struggle over the next few days. But temperatures in Hong Kong, low to mid 20s potentially over the next few days. That's above where they should be for the time of year. You can see that quite clearly. Lots of sunshine to look out for as well. Let's take a look at what to expect though across to Australia. It's a different story here. We've got a storm system moving away from Western Australia. That's brought some rain and a lowering of the temperatures. We've got a weather front moving its way through the Bight, which will gradually push into southeast Australia. Ahead of it, things are largely fine and quiet. We'll need to keep a close eye on Storm Lucas, still a threat up into the far northeast. But as for New Zealand, well, there's a large area of high pressure keeping things pretty quiet. Although the weather fronts are trying to squeeze in from the southwest, the high pressure is tending to kill them off. So this is the story over the next few days. And still along that west coast, it stays unsettled until the early part of next week. Hello there. Here's a forecast for South America. And if we start off with a satellite picture, it's picking up shower clouds starting to develop across parts of central and southern areas of Brazil. And we have got a weather warning out by the local authorities for western areas of Brazil. There could be some localised flooding due to the intensity of the showers. Also seeing some heavier rain starting to move towards Rio de Janeiro. I'll come back to that in just a moment. Not looking too bad into Venezuela. A few isolated showers, heavier ones into Colombia, northern Peru, western Brazil, which I've already covered. And eventually we'll start to see some heavier rain, maybe into Rio de Janeiro. Those showers could be quite intense as well through northern Argentina and Paraguay through the next few days. Temperatures 25 degrees in Santiago, not looking too bad. A weather front down to the southern tip of Chile. No surprises there. So this is the story then, as you can see, for the 5-day city forecast. More sharper showers expected to Rio as we head into the weekend. As for Mexico and Central America, a little bit of fair weather cloud, but at this time of year, it's a fairly straightforward story. A weak weather front eases away from parts of Cuba and Jamaica, taking its showers with it as well. So an improving story here. And those temperatures are still likely to peak into the low 30s over the next few days, with plenty of sunshine re-emerging in Kingston for the weekend. Hello there. A powerful nor'easter brought some disruptive snow to parts of New York State and New York City itself. And you can see behind a large area of cold air plunging as far south as Florida, where temperatures overnight just a couple of degrees above freezing. So that's having quite a significant impact. Now, the worst of the weather will start to ease away, but we still keep that northerly wind over the next few days. It's going to be pretty cold. Quieter across the Rockies for the time being. There's more snow for the Rockies and across the Great Lakes by by the end of this week. Across the west coast, we've got another weather front that's going to bring some rain in. Rain to the coast, snow to higher ground across parts of New England, as you can see quite clearly. And we move down, perhaps that rain as far south as San Francisco in Northern California. Shouldn't get further south of that though. And so our city forecasts show that rain easing away, sunshine returning for San Francisco on Thursday. Now let's take a look at the East Coast. That's where the story has been record-breaking snowfall across parts of Central Park on Monday. The snow has eased away, but the temperatures are going to struggle. There's not going to be a quick thaw by any means. And that cold air, as I say, as far south as part of Georgia and into Florida. We'll start to see an improvement into Florida over the next few days. Each day gets slightly warmer, but even so, by their standards, this is disappointing. Hello there. It's a relatively quiet weather story across South Asia at the moment. Let's take a look at the satellite picture, obviously showing the whiter area is the cold really across the Himalayas. There's going to be some snow showers here. This, however, still some sharp showers threatening towards Sri Lanka. That's been the story for the last couple of days. That's going to be the story for the next couple of days. And sandwiched in between the two, largely fine and quiet with light winds up into the northeast. Fog and poor air quality is likely to be an issue over the next few days. That'll be slow to lift away and could have an impact on the temperatures. There's likely to be a few scattered showers you can see across the Himalayas, also through the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. Colder further north into Kazakhstan, not as cold as it's going to get or as it can be at this time of year. Now, as we push out of Pakistan into India, you can see that generally it's a quiet weather story with a good deal of sunshine around, and those temperatures are still likely to peak into the mid-30s. There's those showers, maybe longer spells of rain for a time in Sri Lanka, and they're going to be a bit of a nuisance over the next few days. Pushing up into Bangladesh, it's fine and quiet, as I say, a few isolated snow showers likely across the Himalayas, and that's reflected in our city forecast. Further showers to come through the weekend into Colombo. Now, it does look as though Kazakhstan is going to get colder as we move through the weekend into the early half of next week, with those temperatures really falling away. Hello there. Let's take a look at the weather forecast for Africa. One or 2 points of interest to talk about. We have seen some warmth across the far northwest with temperatures above the average for the time of year. We've also seen some pretty intense rainfall across parts of Zimbabwe, Botswana, and also into Mozambique. Now, the rain is still going to continue, perhaps not quite as intense as it has been in recent days. So elsewhere, it looks largely fine and dry across South Africa. For Cape Town, we'll see temperatures into the mid-20s. Risk of a few sharp showers as well, moving through the Mediterranean across the north coast of Egypt as we go through the next few days. So this is a city forecast, fairly consistent across Cape Town, temperatures into the mid-20s. Marrakesh, where we have seen that warmth just recently, well, a front will move through and will bring those temperatures down really quite considerably. Now let's move away from Africa towards the Middle East. You can see that little risk of some showers across that north coast of Egypt. Eventually, that's going to move its way further east towards Saudi and into Kuwait over the next few days. But ahead of it, it's largely a fine, quiet story to tell. As you can see quite clearly, lots of sunshine expected and those temperatures pleasant enough really for this time of year. So the city forecast shows very little in the way of change, but the risk of a few showers arriving to Kuwait by the weekend.